Tequila Talk Tuesday.
I'm just gonna turn the chair slightly so I'm angled.
Cheat. Two.
I like our acronyms.
Hashtag. Tea.
Tequila.
Look how cute and pink this is. It matches Amber's cute pink.
My lovely jacket here.
So cute. Yum.
This is my new favorite thing.
Guys, pink Monster with Terramana.
I drink sugar-free, like the regular sugar-free, the white stuff with Monster or with Terramana all the time.
Yum.
I wanted to try pink today.
Maybe not heart healthy, but you know, good time.
Hey, fits into my macros. Okay with it. All right.
Deadlines.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to talk about.
Deadlines, because last time we talked about what the heck you're gonna do for the rest of the year. You're like, however many days left now.
Yeah.
100 minus 7. Not gonna math.
96.
Yeah, what are you doing?
No, that's not right either.
Don't judge us. It's fine. One too many tequilas.
Yeah, just a couple. So what we came up with, the last time we were talking about, especially with having 94 days left in the year, and then what you're going to do with that, how you're going to prioritize it, what goals you're going to focus on, and how to set yourself up for 2022. Jenna came up with deadlines and like
Deadlines.
Yeah, what kind of things?
Sorry, I was having like a panic attack that we weren't actually recording, but we are, so that's all good.
Okay.
Deadlines.
Yeah, and like how long you give yourself to do something.
Basically, like, I have found, and I know this is true for a majority of people because I've heard enough people say it that I know that this is legit. If you give yourself a week to accomplish a goal, it's most likely going to take you that week to accomplish it. If you give yourself like, okay, I need to get this done by today at midnight, then you're going to get it done by today at midnight. Whatever amount of time you give yourself, that is most likely what it's going to take you.
Yeah.
So you don't always have to be super realistic. Like if there is something that is really pushing, like that is like hovering over you, a lot of the time people put it on the back burner and it becomes this big ordeal, when in reality when you just sit down to do it, you're like, oh shit, that only took me a few hours. I don't know why I kept like putting that off and putting it off.
I also feel like sometimes too, you like, I feel like with deadlines you have to be realistic, but you also have to put a little bit of pressure on yourself, because there could be, you know, like say you give yourself 2 weeks to finish something, chances are you're gonna procrastinate until like the last day, and then it's gonna be like crunch study time like it was in high school the night before a big test, you know what I mean? Like you have to, like, there almost has to be a little bit of pressure on you. I mean, I find that for me, like if I say, you know, like this is good, this project could potentially take me a week, but I'm going to do it in 3 days. I'm going to get it done in 3 days because there's that little bit of pressure to get it done, but I'm also being realistic by giving myself 3 days and not 1.
Yeah, and that's where like I don't know if you guys know this, people that know me will know this, I love Big Brother. Like I'm such a sucker for Big Brother, and I want to go on Big Brother so bad.
She's been telling me for the last year she's making her audition.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like looming over me, and I wrote it on my calendar to do it, and I didn't do it. There is a deadline for November, but I'm making my deadline for like the end of this month, because if I don't do it, then it's gonna be like already, like I thought about this in June and already it's end of September and I'm like, oh fuck, I still haven't made this fucking video.
But it's because the deadline technically is November. So she felt like she had all this time. Don't worry. But the closer it gets, the more pressure builds up, and then you're like, instead of just like fucking get it done.
Yeah, because the day that I had on my calendar to do it, it was like I didn't time it out with my lash appointments, and so I didn't have very many lashes. I was having a breakout, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to record a video when I feel like shit. I need to do it on a day where I'm feeling good.
She just missed me. because
and yeah, technically the deadline is November, so I feel like I have all this time, but yeah, it's already freaking end of September, so the pressure is on and I need to do this video, so y'all hold me accountable and make sure I get this shit done.
Yes, Big Brother. I'm gonna see Jenna on Big Brother. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, guys, hopefully I wouldn't get evicted the first week. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Just get past the first week.
I'd actually watch Big Brother if Jenna was on it, because I've never seen a friggin' episode.
It's stupid, but I love it.
It's entertainment.
I'm not gonna be ashamed of it.
It's like watching Selling Sunset. You're literally watching people do real estate, but it's so good. And Christine Quinn is like
the queen.
I love her.
So deadlines.
Yeah, that. I feel like with that deadlines too, just especially having like a certain amount of time, it almost instead of doing like bits and pieces here and there, like, because we talk a lot about putting your whole self and your whole energies, your whole focus into something, and I feel like if you don't have a deadline, it's almost like willy-nilly, this, and then you kind of, when it actually comes around to putting something together, you're frantically like searching through things to find all these pieces. Whereas if you have a deadline, you know that you need to have like A, B, and C to integrate to make things work. And so those are the things that you focus on. And so I feel like you put more energy into a task when you have a deadline. And it comes, and like it ties, like deadlines ties in with like the power list and like your daily tasks that you are doing. And so incorporating that into it to just, keep you on track and hold you accountable so that it doesn't sneak up on you thinking like, oh yeah, I have so much time to get it done. And then boom, the day is here and you're like, well, shit. Yeah, it's just like, it's almost like a bomb dropped. Like, oh crap, I need to do this. Yeah. And I mean, okay, so I feel like with that, with just in life, like deadlines are a super healthy thing, but sometimes I feel like almost, for me, having a deadline is almost like too much pressure. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Like for example, I'm gonna talk about these all the time, by the way, just letting everybody know. When these were coming up, I kept saying, you know, like, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna feel really good, like my deadline, like, you know, my surgery is September 1st, so I wanna make sure that I'm like, you know, worked out and I feel really good. Do you think that fucking happened? No, it didn't happen. And then I felt like shit, I felt guilty, I wasn't like in the best shape or anything like that, so I almost felt like, it almost felt like more pressure to do it, and therefore, I don't know, it was almost like a backwards effect. Not like the pressure propelled me forward, but almost too much pressure I give. But
don't you think that when that happens, though, like the way that you felt didn't feel great, and doesn't it motivate you to not feel that way again?
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't ever want to feel like that. Like before I had surgery, I was the heaviest I was since after having kids, and like, it's a scary thought, you guys.
How much weight did you gain when you had kids?
60 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. But
both times?
No. Well, with Ada, I only gained 30.
Oh.
Like the normal amount. But with Caleb, like, it was my first pregnancy, so I just thought, eat everything. So I did. But I gained 60, I was like 59 pounds with Caleb, and then with Ada, it was only 30. But after Caleb, like, I mean, obviously when you, like, after you give birth, like, you're like 9 or 10 pounds for the baby, and then, like, everything, we're not going to go into gory details, but you lose a good like 12 to 15 pounds when you give birth, like just right off the bat. But after that, like I didn't do anything to actually to do anything. So since I'm obviously not 60 pounds heavier now, but maybe it's just the feeling. Maybe it's just like the associated feeling I feel with it, because I don't know. Anyways, I don't know where that topic came from.
Just too much pressure, and that,
which also works backwards too, because if you think about it, like, it's like, we're just going to talk about weight gain for a second, because we all know, like, stress hormone cortisol, if you have too much of it, you can gain weight. Like, that's just one of the side effects. So it's almost like the more pressure I put on myself to work out and lose weight, the stress of that actually made me go in reverse and gain more weight. So when I did work out, I was like, well, I'm not accomplishing anything anyway, you know?
It's kind of like this internal mindfuck in a sense, because like Andy Frisella talks about it, when you are, like, he always says to set like crazy high goals because then you're like shooting for these goals, and then you fall short of them, and it's like you're still way farther than you were to start. And I think it's just wrapping your head around like, okay, that was like an insane goal that I have, and look at where I am, like that's still better than nothing.
I feel like
it's that mind fuck.
But I feel like that only works for a certain type of person though, because I mean, yeah, like shoot for the stars, like, because some people like will, you know, set these really high goals, shoot for the stars, and if they fail, then that's it. They didn't reach their goals.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give up. You know, like, so like there's a common theme among entrepreneurs is that when we're first starting out, we want to make 10 grand a month. That's usually the first thing people say.
Yeah, the first thing.
Yeah, I want to make 10 grand a month. And if you, and I've known girls that, which by the way, I like, just so you are clear that we know what I've made 10 grand a month consistently, and through programs and stuff like that. And when you fall, my phone is vibrating. And when you fall short of that, I've had so many girls in some of my programs get really discouraged because they didn't hit that 10 grand mark, but it would be like 9,200 or like 8,700. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there going,
that's so good.
But like, okay, what were you making before? Well, I was only making like 3 grand a month. So you're making 5 or 6 grand more than you made before, but you're still unhappy because they didn't hit that 10K mark. So I almost feel like, yes, having like the big goals is great. Like, next goal now is I want to make between 15 and 20K a month. I think that would be amazing. But I feel like some people have to get to that realistic mark first, and then see what's possible, and then keep scaling up from there. Yeah. Like if you're only making 2 grand a month and you set your sights on 5 grand a month, that's more achievable and more realistic for some people's brains to wrap around than going from 2 grand to 10 grand. For sure. So I feel like there's a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, and I feel like I might be like half and half one of those people where I feel like, oh yeah, totally, I can make 30 grand a month, 100%, but I've never seen it. I've never actually made 30 grand a month before, so I don't know if it's possible. So therefore, manifestation-wise, if we think about thoughts become things, I've never seen it, so I don't know how that works, so I can't imagine the feeling of making 30 grand a month, therefore it's not going to happen. But I know what it's like to make 10 and 12 grand a month. So 15 grand a month is super easy. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, yeah, that.
Well, talking about like the feeling of it, like Jimmy Rex talks about if you aren't where you want to be, it's because there's something inside of you there's something inside of you that is holding you back. Like you don't truly believe like you are like worthy or deserve that. And I feel like that's what I'm struggling with right now. Like I have this like internal struggle of like, I know the big picture, I know what I want, but it's almost like I haven't fully accepted it yet. Like there's like this internal struggle a little bit.
It's not like a full-on belief that no matter what happens, you're gonna get there. I'm trying to live my life now because like, okay, so every time I put on this jacket, Jenna, like I told Kate, because I talked to you before about like what I want to do in my business, and how I see myself. And I think I told you before, I want to be the Tony Robbins of the sensuality industry. I want to be on stage, and I've imagined myself on stage, like in front of thousands of women, just teaching and helping and empowering women to be the most sensual, I just got goosebumps, their most sensual, authentic, genuine selves. And I can envision that. One, because I know what it's like to be on stage in front of thousands of people. I used to be an opera singer, so I used to be on stage in front, so I know what that feels like. And I can imagine, and I can feel the lights on me and everything. So in this visualization of mine, I am wearing this jacket, not a word of a lie, I'm wearing this. And so every time I put this on, it's just like, fuck, where are my Louboutin heels? And I'm gonna walk across that stage and I'm gonna help people because I know what it feels like. So I'm trying to live my life day to day by holding on to that vision of being that super successful human that helps thousands of women just live their best lives, be authentic, and be the queen that I know that they are. But I have to stop worrying about the details on how to get there. And like, there's a lot of coaches out there that say, you know, like just trust and let go. It's hard to let go if you don't have actual steps forward. But if I keep holding on to the big vision and just let the details change of how I'm gonna get there, that's a lot more attainable and a lot more
Well, and they say like once you have that big picture that you can kind of start to work backwards a little bit, and then you can start to recognize certain opportunities that come up that you should take, because you know, it's not like you have this goal and then you figure out all the baby steps and then it's going to go exactly 100%.
But that's what a lot of people think, though, is that like, you know, you see this big goal and this is how I'm going to get there, and it's just like, but like a year ago, I thought that I would, like, I imagined myself being like a celebrity lash artist where I was going to be training and teaching a bunch of lash artists how to become their best selves in the lash artist world. Well, I don't want to do that anymore. So that vision's kind of like popped out of my head, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, we talk about the dot, the niche, it always changes. So the details have to change, but the feeling needs to stay the same of where you want to be.
100%.
We totally segued from deadlines, but this is a really good topic.
I love this topic. It is really good. And I think that it's okay, because that's a big one for me too. Like, my big dream has changed in the last like 2 years from moving to Calgary, because before it was very focused on Pearl & Co. and on extension training, and that was going to be my jam, and it's now evolved into something like, I still love Pearl & Co. I still want it to be a name, but now it's evolving into other areas that I'm passionate about, like traveling and parties and events and that sort of thing.
Airbnb plans that are super exciting, you know, like but I still feel like you held on to the feeling of what you wanted to feel like, super successful, happy, passionate in your business.
Helping people. And just helping people feel their best selves, and that's where it has changed in the last 2 years, but it's growing into something bigger that I didn't even have an idea of back then, and now it's evolved, and it's really cool to see it. And I think just allowing it to grow and to evolve is the biggest,
and not trying to control the outcome. Because the outcome could be, I always like to say too, like, it's this or something better. Because I could have that, you know, that Tony Robbins stage feeling, and I could get that. I could also get something better, and it may not happen. The stage thing may not happen. I don't know. It's just the feeling, right? The stage thing may not happen, but it might. But I'm just going to trust that if that doesn't happen, something better is going to happen. Something better that is going to evolve into something.
I like the stage analogy, and I'm sorry, like, I will talk about Andy all the freaking time because I just love him. But he talked about, like, he doesn't really do speaking events anymore, but he did, and like for thousands of people and people cheering his name and whatever, and it was that whole feeling. But back in the day, he thought he was going to be like a freaking rapper. And so like, he's definitely by no means a rapper, but it's that same sort of feeling. So it's cool to see, like how it evolved, and it's still that. It's still what he visualized. It's just not a rapper. He's a public speaker.
Well, that's, I mean, like my whole journey growing up, like I always think, like, everything that I have done in my past, starting from when I was 4, if that is my vision, if that's my end goal of being on stage, everything that I have done since I was 4 is preparing me for that. I danced since I was 4. I was like I said, I was a competitive opera singer. I sang in choirs. I did. I sang at the Jubilee and the Jack Singer on stage by myself, with like in front of thousands of people. Like so everything kind of is leading up to. Obviously, I won't be singing, because I still remember like the stage fright, and I would shake when I get on stage before even like the first note got out. But I still remember those feelings and what it feels like and how to overcome it. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like, okay, I'm gonna be,
I'm excited about it.
No, I just think it's gonna happen now. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, everything's leading me up to that moment, so it's gonna happen.
See, guys, this is why we need Tequila Talk Tuesday. Because it motivates and re-inspires.
Seriously, like 2 weeks is too long. It's too long. It's too long.
Well, I think maybe that's a high note to end on. Like, of just feeling so, feeling good, feeling direct and re-inspired. And now
I think the whole point of this episode of when we started with deadlines is to keep yourself in a good direction. I like it because it like definitely veers towards like your vision of yourself in the future, but that doesn't necessarily you need to put a deadline on it. But keep yourself accountable and keep pushing for your goals, and make sure that you're putting your energies into things if you want to get to that end stage feeling. That's our new analogy. I like it. It's going to be stage feeling for the rest of it. Even if you're not going to be on a stage, even if it just means, even if it just means financial freedom, travel freedom, time freedom, whatever your feeling is, keep yourself accountable.
Yeah,
If that
hold on to that.
Yeah.
Because that is your why, and that is what is going to drive you.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to get you through.
And focus on the feelings. Don't focus on the monetary things. Like,
Yeah.
don't, like, how much money in the bank? Great. You just want to feel financial, because financially free could mean $10,000 right now.
Well,
You know
and
what I
that's
mean?
where I think we talked about it in a show before. It's just that feeling, like you making that much money, or you having that job to have your weekends and evenings with your kids. Like, why do you want those things? Like, is it going to give you more time with your kids? Is it going to allow you to travel the world? Like, what is that going to make you be able to do? And hold on to that, and that's what pushes you through.
Yeah, because I mean, like, feelings are everything. Feelings become things. Feelings fuel your thoughts, and feelings fuel your, like, your inspirations and your passions throughout the day. So I think holding on to feelings and giving yourself direction and setting yourself realistic deadlines for things that you should be doing in your business right now is super good advice.
Yeah. So make the most of your end of the year.
Yeah. How many days do we have left now? What did I say?
94.
94? Minus
6, 9, 7, 8, 99, 100, 101. Good.
Yeah.
Amber.
It only took 10 minutes to figure it out.
Well, cheers. Well, I finished my drink.
I didn't. I was talking. I'm sorry. Cheers.
Bye.